So I was looking at the 2017 draft
Mhm.
with Mahomes, and I remember we were on the air. I mean, Mahomes was not talked about a lot.
No, he was not
It
viewed
was
as this.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
Miles Garrett went number 1. Mitchell Trubisky number 2. And man, so I was looking back at that draft. I always like to look at these, and I don't know. I just think it's fun to look at who could have had him, a guy.
Sure.
The pick. So he went 10th. The Chiefs traded up from Buffalo and got the pick and took Mahomes.
Where did the Chiefs come from to get him?
I think they were 13th.
They didn't move that
Well,
much
where's
up.
Buffalo? Let's find Buffalo.
Scroll. They were 27th.
Yep, 27th.
So
Sorry.
that's a big jump.
Now the
and-
Bills dropped all the way back and got Tre'Davious White,
Which is nice
so
pick.
that worked out fine.
Nice player. I remember like afterwards, and I don't know how like it's easy to say afterwards, but like the Sean Payton and was it the Denver Broncos were all like, oh, we wanted Mahomes too, and so now of course you're hearing more teams that were valuing him, but
Well, the Broncos picked 20th.
Yeah.
And got Garrett Bowles, the
Well,
offensive tackle.
he holds a lot, but
But Mahomes, the pick so 2 picks before Mahomes was the Panthers, and they took McCaffrey. So
okay,
nice pick.
nice. He got hurt there a bunch, but you can't argue with who Christian McCaffrey is.
But the number 9 pick went to the Bengals. Do you remember who they took? You probably don't.
No, I don't remember.
So I'll tell you.
I can't even. I'm not going to look at. I had the draft in front of me, but that would be cheating. I don't want to look at it.
Speedster John Ross.
Oh yeah,
They
he won
took-
the one. What did he win at the combine for
Well, he
his
had the
40
lo-
time?
He had the
he had like the
lowest
lowest 40 time, one of
ever.
the best ever.
I thought they were like going to give him an island or something like that because he broke a 4.3.
I don't remember. I just know that he was the fastest guy at the combine, and
Now the Bungholes ended up getting Joe Burrow several years later, so
Yeah.
I guess that's water under the bridge, but still, man.
what other receivers went in that draft? Because again, that's what I always look at. Like, okay,
Oh,
you
yeah.
needed a receiver, you drafted a receiver. Like-
Well, before him, Corey Davis and Mike Williams.
And not the
No,
Tampa Mike Williams,
Chargers
the
Mike
Chargers Mike Williams. So, yeah, Corey Davis, and Mike Williams when healthy. All right.
Well, he's better than John Ross.
Oh, anyone's better
mean-
than John Ross.
So let's see other receivers here for you, fella.
Because Corey Davis had a couple decent years in Tennessee, but was never was never anything special.
So after Ross went Zay Jones, Curtis Samuel, Juju Smith-Schuster,
Not a great receiver draft.
Cooper Kupp,
Oh, there you go. Where did Cup go?
69 to the Rams.
Well, see, and that's one of those, like, I don't fault anyone for not drafting Cooper Kupp because,
Chris Godwin went 84.
yeah, when you're talking about the difference between drafting someone in the everyone didn't think those guys were first round picks. I'd just go with like who was drafted around you because that's just a misevaluation. But it doesn't really sound like there were great wide receivers at the top of that draft. None of those guys really turned out to be anything.
And you could see why people were in love with John Ross
100%.
at the time.
Yeah. Well, speed kills, but it's funny now in the NFL, like the deep game just isn't. Mahomes, I don't think he threw a touchdown pass over 20 yards this year. Like the game has changed, but back then, as the Raiders, everyone, throw the ball deep, speed kills.
A couple of others that come to mind that are famous ones, of course, that douchebag lawyer guy that went, and David Kahn went to the Timberwolves and took Johnny Flynn and
took
Ricky Rubio.
That was over Steph Curry.
Took him
right?
6-7 before, or took him 5-6 before Curry at 7. I believe.
Yeah, something like that. That one's bad. And then the Giannis draft. Giannis went.
He went like 15th or 18th or something.
I think he was 15th. And of course, this is a little hindsighty because he was pretty raw.
Well, if you look at him, he was the definition of a project. I'm sure when Milwaukee or anyone drafted him, they're like, who?
But you know who could have had him, right? But I'm just talking about the one pick before.
Yeah.
The Utah Jazz
Oh.
took, or actually it might have been Minnesota, because you know how they do the
The NBA drafting is weird.
Yeah, it's Shabazz Muhammad.
See, I don't give anyone any flack for that because there's just when you're drafting Ryan Rupert or you're drafting Giannis, you are literally just saying, I don't know, maybe in 3 years the kid turns into something. And even Milwaukee that was drafting him at 15 didn't believe he was going to. I think he's put on 55 pounds since he was drafted. He's grown like 2 inches. No, like how the hell are you supposed to think that he's going to turn into that? I guarantee when New England drafted Tom Brady, they didn't think he was going to be Tom effing Brady. They're like, maybe this kid's got something. 7th round, but you're not. Hey, Red Danny. Don't give me this. That you knew Tom Brady was going to be great. Can it? If you knew he was going to be great, you would have been 7th round.
Oh, 7th round. Sorry,
I think was Brady 6. Brady might have been 6. You're right, but yeah, you're not. If you really thought something of him, you would have drafted him in the 3rd round.
Yeah. Well, there's so many of those. Buck had a good one on the Raiders. Do you still have that up there, Buck?
Yeah, so there was a stretch from 2004 to 2008. So 5 straight years. The very next guy after they drafted was exponentially better. So it started in 2004. They took Robert Gallery, I think 2nd overall.
Tackle out of
Larry
Iowa.
Fitzgerald went next. Very next pick. 2005, they took Fabian Washington, 23rd overall. Aaron Rodgers was the next pick. 2006, they took Michael Huff at safety. Very next pick, another safety, Dante Whitner. And then 2007, this is the bad one, Shamarcus Russell. Very next pick, Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Whoops.
They also had Darren McFadden. Next pick was Glenn Dorsey.
It's the draft is an inexact science.
So they had when they passed on Rodgers, their quarterback. You said that was 2005.
That was 2005. Correct.
Yeah, Rodgers fell all the way, man. It was
like him or Smith for number 1, and then Smith went 1,
Smith
and he went
1
all the way falling to 24.
He went a tumbling.
Yeah, but I was just trying to think of who the Raiders quarterback was at the time, and looking back, their starter in 2005 was Kerry Collins.
Oh,
and they moved on to Andrew Walter the next year. Probably could have used Aaron Rodgers because then came the Josh McCown, Jamarcus Russell years and the Jason Campbell years. God,
it's the one thing about sports that no one you just can't quantify is when you're sitting in that room and you're getting ready to draft guys and you got the big board up there. There's so many different voices and all that input, and just you just don't know. And I'm not trying to give any. I'm not
you still got to get it right.
You got to get it right, but
that's the whole league. It's your job.
It's the difference.
Get it right.
And when you look at teams that build it, and it's not just hitting on the Aaron Rodgers of the world, but you look at the Seattle teams that end up winning the Super Bowl, and you look at the Bobby Wagners and the Cam Chancellors and the Richard Shermans and Russell Wilson. Wilson was what, 3rd round, I think, out of if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, Seattle.
3rd round. The number of guys that they hit on, that we talked about it with the Chiefs, from Snead to McDuffie, to the Pacheco. I mean, on and on. Rashee Rice this year. I mean, they haven't been very successful with the receivers, but Rice was a big part of what they did. Their linebacking core that they went out and got. I mean, those are all draft picks, and you hit. And when you hit on them, you're right. It is an inexact science. It is very tough, but it is literally the difference between being a crappy organization and being a championship organization.
I mean, imagine, if Myers Leonard was a different pick.
Yeah.
Or Zach Collins.
Yep.
Was a different pick.
And we'd have to go and look at who was around them. But yeah.
Oh, you want to play that game?
Well, I remember, I think it was the Myers Leonard. It went like 2 picks before they won. And I know he ended up being good, but not great. They wanted the center out of UConn, Drummond. They wanted Andre Drummond, and he went like a pick or 2 before before Leonard. And, Leonard turned out to, whoops. And then the Zach Collins was just that thing was just
they traded up to get him.
Yeah. And we were told foundational. Remember, they said he was Kevin McHale, and God almighty.
Kevin McHale.
Yeah, they said he was a more athletic Kevin McHale. I was like, wow, why would you say that?
So Leonard, 11th.
Yeah,
Drummond went 9th.
Yeah, I don't think there was a ton around that.
Same draft as Lillard. After Myers, Jeremy Lamb, Kendall Marshall, John Henson, Maurice Harkless, Royce White,
Blazer Great. Yeah, it's
Tyler Zeller. I mean, there's not. You got to go all the way down to 35 to find an All-Star. Draymond Green.
Yeah, and you can't fault them. Like no one.
Chris Middleton went 39.
Yeah, again, that's you can't fault anyone when there's that sort of gap.
So I can fault him.
The Leonard one,
Miles Plumlee. Could have been the Miles Plumlee model instead of the Mace Plumlee model.
Yeah, you can't kill him with that.
And then the Zach Collins one.
Zach Collins one. You moved up and you drafted. That was rough. That was rough. And you go back, remember, it was the Martell Webster over, was that Martell Webster over, was that Chris, who?
Chris Paul.
Yeah, Chris Paul.
But
Going back about 10 years, they took Nolan Smith, the pick before the Manimal Kenneth Faried.
I liked Kenneth Faried.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, Zach Collins. Yeah, okay. So after Zach Collins, see, that's right. That was when they already had Lillard, but I was saying Donovan Mitchell. That's the dude because I watched a lot of college basketball at that time.
Yeah.
He was at Louisville. He was awesome. It's like just get him, and then maybe you could trade him or just develop him and then trade him. Donovan Mitchell went after Zach Collins, and so did Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, Bam. I knew there was one that was like
glaring. 4
glaring.
picks after Zach Collins went bam. Dude, right there. That changes your whole franchise right there.
And Bam was a specimen. It's not like you look at him and you see Tom Brady from the combine. You know?
Absolutely.
Because where did Damon want to go to play with Bam was Miami,
right.
And then he could have been here and that whole thing. And then you could have dealt CJ and then could have gotten a better rounded roster. And
dummies.
You know. Whoops.
All right. There's that new fun game. Who could have had him?